Hi everyone, I'm on the road along I-Ban and I wanted to take advantage of this little walk in the tea gardens to talk about a subject that is dear to your heart, or not, you might actually hate it. It's the health benefits of tea. Tea is the most popular beverage in the world after water, and I think it's legitimate if a lot of people ask themselves whether drinking tea is a healthy practice or not. And there's a lot of research on the topic, and on other YouTube channels and in media you can often see articles or essays who tell you how healthy tea is for your health. But you're a tea lover, right? You hate when people are explaining all the health benefits of tea. Ask yourself why. I think it's a matter of authenticity. We as tea lovers drink tea because we are passionate. We don't know really why we drink tea, but we don't want to do it for a functional cause, because otherwise we might be classified as like healthy people. And you know that there are lots of hobbies which are unhealthy. You could think like drinking whiskey, smoking cigars, driving fast motorbikes. These will all shorten your lifespan, and yet a lot of people do it and enjoy doing it. And maybe they enjoy it especially even more because they are unhealthy. It allows the dark side in them, the Dionysian side in them, which rejects society, right? Which doesn't want to be pro-social, which wants to be maybe a bad person, just like a child just wants to be that bad child for his own pleasure. We still have this side in ourselves, and we need some activities to show that side, you know. So actually I think that if it was found that drinking tea was unhealthy, people who are passionate about tea would drink even more of it. They would indulge in that bad practice, you see. Passionate people don't drink tea for the health benefits. But okay, we know that this might not be the most popular topic, but let's discuss it for a minute, okay? What does the science say really? Mostly, if you look at the articles, they say there's a correlation between drinking tea and being healthy. So maybe if you drink tea, you have people who drink tea maybe have fewer chances of getting cancer, for example. This kind of things, okay? How do they do this research? Well, the basics of this research would be like you go in the street, you find some random samples of people, and you ask them, do you drink tea? Yes or no? And are you healthy? Yes or no? And if you do this research, you will likely find that people who drink tea are healthier than people who don't drink tea. But you could ask the question like, do you go to the nightclub? Yes or no? And are you healthy? Yes or no? And I'm sure you would find that people who go to the nightclub are healthier than people who don't. And it is so because, like, if you have terminal cancer or if you're 80 years old, you probably don't go to the nightclub. Correlation doesn't mean causation. I think it's been hammered a lot, but it's still hard for us to make the difference. So when you read these studies, a lot of things would lead us to think that if you start drinking tea, you will be healthier. But that would be if there's a causation. So far, I think we just know that people who drink tea are healthier. We could look into why they would be healthier, because if there's a correlation, there must be a causation, but it's not the direct causation. There can be a third element that explains this. For example, if it was like, if it turned out that people who live in the city drink more tea, you could also think that people who live in the city are closer to a hospital and are more likely to get emergency treatment and therefore will have a higher lifespan. So people who drink tea have a higher lifespan because they live in the city, okay? So that's the kind of thing we want to find. Now the problem is, how do you do that study as a scientist? How do you try to get a causation? The first protocol I explained is quite simple. You take a random sample and you ask them questions and you know the answer immediately. But if you wanted to establish a causation, then you would need to find random people and force half of them to drink tea and force half of them not to drink tea, and probably control a lot of other parameters if you want to get through the statistical noise, because we do many things in our lives. So you would kind of have to control their diet or something to be able to really isolate the variable drinking tea or not. And you would need to do that probably for a long time. So imagine if for a study you were forced to drink tea every day for 20 years while you don't like it. It wouldn't be much fun, and that's why it's very hard to say much about the food, the benefits of food, you know, because there are so many variables, and it's likely that one type of food has only a small impact, a small influence on your overall health, right? Because you do a lot of things, you eat lots of different foods, and then you could think that there could even be some interactions between the foods, you know. So for example, tea is known to chelate the iron, like to isolate the iron so your body cannot take it. So if your diet is poor in iron and you drink tea after eating, you could be iron deficient, okay? So that's one example of a proven interaction with tea. And maybe there are lots of interactions that we don't know about. So ultimately, we're pretty sure there is a correlation between drinking tea and being healthy, but I think we'll never be able to prove a causation. We'll never be able to say, if you start drinking tea now, you will be healthier. But there is one thing that I'm sure of, is that the main health benefit of tea is not physiological, but psychological. Actually, I am sure that drinking tea brings some agency in your life, especially if you brew Gong Fu style. If you have a kind of ceremony around the tea, you know that despite all the chaos in this world, despite all anxiety you can have, every day you will be doing the same moves at the tea table. You will just be opening up your tea cake, listen to the sound of the wrapper, extract the leaves with your hands or with a little tea knife, put these leaves in the gaiwan, heat up the water, pour the tea, listen to the sound, and all these things is like a small meditation. And this, we don't really need a scientific research to know that it's good for us. You just need to experience it. So often people will say in a dismissal tone, oh, but people feel good with the tea, but it's a placebo effect. Yes, it is a placebo effect, but I think what we really neglect is the power of the placebo effect. Let's say you go to a music concert, and after the concert you feel very good. Well, it is a placebo effect, right? The sound wave didn't change anything in your physiology, but you just feel good. It's a psychological effect, and it is as powerful as a physiological effect would be. Sometimes the psychological effect is even more powerful. You know, like when people are told that black tea has a high caffeine content, but white tea has a low caffeine content, then they have no problem drinking white tea and sleeping like a baby just after, because they were framed, they were told that if they drink the white tea, they will have no problem sleeping. So you see, in this case, despite maybe an intake in caffeine, because there's as much caffeine in white tea as there is in black tea, it mostly depends on the leaf grade and the varietal, not the type of tea. Well, despite having an increase in caffeine levels, they will sleep well because they were told that they would sleep well. So sometimes, yeah, the placebo effect can be even more powerful than the real effect. And so you see now I'm in Taipingzhang. It's very beautiful, you know, like this forest is so unique. There's no garden like this one. And you can hear all the birds, and we're going to collect the leaves there. I'm just waiting for the farmers, and we're going to process it, and then we're going to send it all over the world. And when you think about this, that also puts you in a certain psychological mindset. You know, like when you know where the tea comes from and how it was made, you have a story, and this story indeed is a placebo effect, but it makes the tea taste better. And that's often what I say, like, don't neglect when you do a tea session. If you want your guests to enjoy the tea, of course you need good tea leaves, you need good water, you need teaware, but the environment is what matters most. Will you do that in silence, or will you tell a lot of stories about the tea, or will you crack a few jokes? Well, I guess it depends on the people, but it will have as big an influence as the quality of the tea leaves on the experience. And so this is the message today. The biggest health benefit of tea is the placebo effect, whether you like it or not as a tea drinker. Thank you for watching, and see you later. Bye bye.